Hello, everyone. You are welcome to this session of the I Am Show. It is all about marriage. And don't be scared. Don't think that if you are not married, it's not for you. Everything from before marriage, into marriage, during marriage, till
Death do you part under good circumstances, or separation do you part under life-threatening circumstances will be discussed here at one time or the other. So sit tight. I have a power couple in the house, and they are going to educate you regarding their experiences as a married couple. With me today are...
Nifemi Ogutoye.
And Ebulomo Ogutoye.
Thank you very much for honoring us with your presence. So what do you do for a living?
So I'm a broadcast journalist and a corporate compare. My wife is
I thought you were going to go. I'm a jewelry seller. I'm a voiceover artist, and I'm a software test engineer.
Okay, thank you. So for how long have you been married?
we're
10
married
years.
for 10 years now.
Wow, and you still look this young?
Okay.
That's interesting. Marriage must have been very interesting.
Well, we bless God. It's been good.
Well, you
The
need to
good
see
times, the bad times.
You need to see what we look like 10 years. Which I'm sure you're aware of. So we have come of age.
Oh, that's good.
Relatively.
That's good. That's good. So I'm going to ask you first, being a wife and a mom, working from home, what are the challenges involved in working remotely as a wife and a mom?
You would think that working from home would give you that grace or liberty to even work more efficiently. But my greatest challenge is the fact that my family members do not understand I work at all. The fact that they see you, they just place demands because you would want to. So when I started working from home, I figured I'll wake up like everybody. Because, matter of fact, I have meetings early in the mornings. You have 7 a.m. But the challenge is the fact that I'm not out of the house. I'm doing chores and attending to meetings. And then I, at first, said I was going to just do 8 to 3, be at my desk, and I would work the normal hours. But I found out that he would just come and say, Can I? I'm like, I am working, you know? I am working. And the children, too, especially when they're not on holiday, they do not respect that office time that you have. They just believe that they can see their mother and then, oh, Shemilera is doing this one. Oh, and you know, children, they are always reporting. So I could have a particular pattern of thought. By the time I'm done attending to them, I've lost it. Sometimes it could be challenging getting back to that frequency. But what I've tried to do is I work very early in the morning. So sometimes to make up, because I tell myself there are certain tasks you have to do. Funny enough or good enough, at work, you have to be able to give an account of what you did the previous day. What and what are you able to achieve? So you can't just even say you're a sit-at-home mom and then you're not doing nothing, or you're using the remote work as an excuse for levity. So to make up for that time that they take from me, I wake up sometimes as early as 3 a.m. to make up for my tasks, or sometimes, especially when I have to study, I study late into the night. So when I'm done, so during the day, of course, there will be some meetings. There are some times that you have troubleshooting to do. But I wake up in the morning with certain tasks done that even if I can't make up within the work hours, as it were, the work itself will not be lagging behind.
But I think it's very exciting because we have two for the price of one. You have a housewife and a working mom. And I used to joke with my colleagues that many people might think that working from home is flex, but it's actually more tasking because you really have to do the job. Unlike if you just appear physically, people see you and they think you have resumed, even if you don't
That's
do
true.
anything.
That's true.
But if you work remotely, you have to report in details everything that you have done. But she's a super mom because we have her as a wife, as a mom, and also as a software tester.
Well, sometimes I trace them out when it becomes very critical to.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I think as young as the children are, when I am very strict about that time, they understand it. Mommy has to work now, so they excuse me. until
They could not, they
yes
cannot excuse you again.
again.
Yeah. So I know that different things apply to different marriages.
Yes.
However, one thing that is common is every marriage has certain roles and responsibilities. However, who plays what role in the family might differ. So how do you manage roles and responsibilities in your own marriage? Who does what?
Um, I bathe the girls, and then they force me to sweep the house when there is no help. I try as much as possible to do it as often as I can. I've also come to learn over the years that uh, the modern marriage is different from the type that our parents had. In this case, both the husband and wife are working and they are pulling resources together. So gone are the days where you assume that your wife has to do in things. She has to cook, she has to keep the house clean, she has to cater to the children. You absolutely cannot afford that in this age and time. So usually I cater to the children in the morning, get their clothes ready, iron their clothes, get them to school and what have you. She does the cooking because I hate cooking, but she still tries to do the cooking.
Matter of fact,
And
it will be better for him not to be the cook because I think it is more challenging when he cooks
how do you
than
mean?
okay. So how many seasoning? What's the measurement of seasoning? How many cups of water? So at the end of never
Don't worry.
don't worry. So naturally or societally, even without being told, as a woman, you've picked up some things because the society or even your family, your background has raised you to be the cook, the homemaker, and all of that. Funny enough, I do not have, we do not have a boy, we're all girls. So there wasn't even that opportunity to see, oh, a guy too can do this, a guy too can do that. We're all just raised together to take up all the house chores, wash, and all of that. But when we got married, one thing I told my husband before when we started dating was, I do not want the conventional husband. I want a friend because I didn't like the fact that the typical African home is such that a man just crosses his legs, even when the woman is tired, and then the woman still gets to do everything. And I made him promise that you are not going to be that kind of husband because at that point, marriage wasn't enticing with all I saw. And I knew my person that I do not want to be a slave in the marriage. So we settled that, and it helped for um, a very long time. It has helped for a long time. However, there are some times that, my husband is sitting down and I feel tired.
No,
But the good thing is he
yes.
listens.
No, no.
He says
I
at
must
the point,
admit that it's a little bit difficult for the man because of the way you are raised.
Yeah.
You just assume that certain things should
Uh,
be the
the,
duty of a woman. Now, when you're now told to do it, that even makes the matter worse because you're like,
I'm
hello,
the man of the house.
I'm supposed to be in charge here. But, because you're exposed and you love your wife and you also have eyes, you can see that you are doing too much. I think with time, it takes a while, but 10 years is a long time.
That's true.
Thank God we have forever. So we still have like 50 or 60 more years for me to adjust that and do better.
though I place demands, and I think I've had to tell some of my friends too, because there's my greatest the height of anger that I've felt is that can you not see that I need help at this point? And I'm boiling over. Guess what? He has no inkling. And he says, if you need something, we women are observant. If I see that you're tired, I've experienced some men that they do not, they might be looking at you, but until you tell them that,
Actually, somebody said men don't read minds, they read newspapers.
that's right. So I have now learned to place demand. This morning, especially when we don't have a help around the house, please, you're going to help with this and this and this. And yes, to the best of his ability, because he still has to go out of the house, and because of his work schedule, he does the ones. that. And I think the shortfall for me at some point is when he has done one, two, I'm still like, but you've not done this. And he says, can't you even say thank you
For the ones I've done.
So we're learning to be better.
Oh, I want to appreciate the sincerity that you brought to par, the way you are addressing the issue. And I'm sure that someone at home is learning. You are just picking up one thing or the other. Don't choose to be the African cultural man. Be the man that your wife can call a friend. Be the man that watches out for your family. Don't feel that once I drop the upkeep, I've done my part. There's a lot to marriage than just dropping the upkeep. Can't you see how jolly they are? They are friends. They are just enjoying themselves because they've learned to support one another. Another question I would want to ask is, how do you manage finance in your marriage?
That is actually very fluid. So, from the beginning, because we even started out working for the same organization, so we earned the same amount, which was not sufficient. So we just pull it together. After we pull out some practices that we usually do that are not debatable, then we would have listed, we want to do this, we want to do that. So in the early years of our marriage, because things were not enough, we had to do things instrumentally. Like when we wanted to get our furniture, when we wanted to buy, so we would write it down and say, what is it we can afford outside food? What do we have left over to do this and that? And then we just go and make those payments. And then sometimes 2 months we're able to bring some things on. Sometimes it took 3 months, some took 6 months, depending on how big it is. Now we don't necessarily pull resources together like this is the account you're sending money to.
Okay.
But we're very transparent with it. Of course, I know how much he earns. He knows how much I earn. When we have side gigs and extra income, we know. Matter of fact, for him, because he has to do certain things, and there are some certain responsibilities that we didn't even spell out that each person just takes on. For instance, he is solely responsible for the parents, his parents and my parents. I'm solely responsible for the children. There was no time we actually sat down and we said we are going to be doing that. But if I ask him now, when do you pay the parents? Like if you ask me, I might not know. He probably doesn't know how much the children's wears and all of that, including my own upkeep sometimes costs. But what he has started doing is for a long time, when he gets the money, he gives me certain things for myself because most times he knows that I forget myself in catering for the house and all of that. And he will say, this money, go and use it to buy so thing.
Hey, yeah, that's so romantic.
And for myself, because he doesn't even know where to get stuff, I buy all his things. So when I notice that he doesn't have slippers or he doesn't have underwears or they are old, if I don't have the money, sometimes I just naturally do it. But when I don't, I need 40,000 naira. And sometimes like, for what? I say, don't argue with me, just give me so amount. And then I say, okay, I want to replace this, I want to replace that. But for major projects, it is because if you have the extra, we collect it. You know what you want to use it for. If I am the one that has the extra, because it is both, it is for the family. I just point, thinking about it now, we have never really sat down to think about percentages.
Okay.
We just have common interests.
I think that
We know
it is
the-
important that each partner prioritize the other person. Because over the years, we've seen the dynamic changes in how resources enter our hands. And it is the way I have treated her or the way she has treated me that have informed how we eventually get to treat each other. So there's a time where you are earning more and then you're open to your partners. This is how much I have. This is what I'm doing with the money. And then maybe in another decade is the other partner that now earns a lot more than you and what have you. But one thing I've really come to appreciate is that she's able to meet my needs. Recently, I was just joking that I can't leave you now because if I leave you, you're probably going to take all my clothes away from me because you practically bought
hilarious.
them, you know. And I think that that is very important because there are many men out there who are killing themselves to, fend for the family, pay school fees, pay house rent, cater to, and then the wife is also not doing anything. So sometimes you collect your salary and then in 4 hours it's finished. You enter depression. If you don't have a partner who is saying that, okay, he needs to change his top. He needs perfume too. He needs a slippers. There was a time I did not have a slippers. And it's not because I could not afford it, but it did not even
Occur
occur
to
to me
you.
as priority. But thankfully, I have a wife who's paying attention to
Attention
those
to
details.
you.
So it gives me room to, express, to invest myself in the family because I know that there's still someone who is also looking out for me.
Oh, that's so beautiful. People from home, I hope you are learning. So there's no particular percentage they work with, but both of them have common interest, the success of the marriage, the furtherance of the peace and unity in the home. So they are willing to bring resources together to ensure things get done. Can't you see how good he's looking? Kudos to his wife. And can't you see how good she's looking?
Yeah.
Kudos to the husband. That is how it should be. We should watch out for one another. That is what makes marriage blissful and peaceful. And before I get carried away, there was a time you were working in the same organization. Then later, one of you had to resign. What prompted that action?
Okay, so we started working together. We met on camp as core members.
Okay.
And then we got posted to the same organization.
Oh, please let me quickly interrupt. You people that don't like going for NYSC, see one of the benefits of
I
camp.
see.
I came to serve and I returned with a wife.
You heard him? He went to serve and came back with a wife.
So we got to serve in the same organization. At the time, we
Okay.
weren't married then, but we were dating. So it gave us like a premise. Everybody knew we were seeing each other, and then we left that organization. I joined her in another organization in Lagos, and that was where we got married. So I don't think it was really a big deal. In fact, by the time we were getting married, we went to our employer and said, "We're getting married. Are you okay with us working together?" And they said, "Why not?" Because it boils down to your contribution to the organization. If both
Okay.
of you are valuable, I mean, it's going to be. In fact, I know of a couple that the organization wouldn't allow married people to work, but they were so valuable that they had to change that policy for them.
Please, people from home, are you learning? So rules can be made flexible for you
Indeed.
if you are a value adder. Either at the bedroom, the boardroom, the market, wherever it is, make sure you keep adding value.
Added value. So we were there. The challenge at the time was finances. The guy wasn't paying us, and then she had a lot of other things she could do. So she decided that, you know what, you can stay here, but let me start my business and do other things so that we can pull resources together and make the family work at the time.
That's good. But generally speaking, what advantages and disadvantages do you think a couple working in the same organization might face?
So I feel first, the benefits would be that you have the same work time, work hours. You resume the same time, you close the same time. So it makes it easy. On your way home, you can decide what do we want to do on our way home and all of that.
That's right.
I think another benefit is it just saves costs. For instance, if you have a vehicle, instead of one to go one way, like it's just the same cost for both of you instead of going your different ways.
And then you can keep an eye on your property. There is no
That's
office
interesting.
or office wife. At least you have to.
But there are some challenges.
Okay.
For instance, the boss where we're working at that time was hitting on me. If not for the fact that we were quite efficient at what we were doing, he would have had a problem, which he eventually had. Because it was even before he came to the organization, the man had done all sorts. Thankfully, I was open to him because he went to a certain extent. And when the man saw that they needed what he
Add.
what he had, I'm sure if he wasn't as good as he is, they would have just settled for another person. So the man called me and was asking not to tell him because of how things will look. But of course, I told him. And I remember that when we told him we're going to get married, in his mind, he thought I did not mention it to him. And he went and I had to say, take care of her, she's a good girl. Of course, based on the premise of whatever he has tried to do. However, I foresee that it might not have worked well for some people For instance, if you're at his mercy, because he would victimize you, he would victimize your husband.
Yeah.
Another challenge, or not a challenge, I think another way you can manage it is you can't bring your romance to work. You have to be strictly professional. People already know you're married. You don't have to slam it in their faces. In the first place, if your husband is not working in the same organization, you won't be there hugging or being overly affectionate.
That's true.
Keep it professional. The same relationship you have with other people, keep it with them. Another challenge that some have is they forget themselves and carry on each other's tasks. Oh, so this is my husband. I can drop some of my tasks. Or in our case, we were newscasters. You can imagine me telling him, "Can you take my shifts for me?" Which he would readily do. But then your employer begins to think, "Why do I need two?
That's true.
If one person
Can do all the job.
So I think it is we who get carried away.
Indeed.
You work in the same organization, do your job as though the other person was there. If you're professional and, like you said, very valuable, I think the challenge, there might be jealousy from colleagues. But if you're professional and you mind your business, I think it will be minimal. Above all, the person who determines it is the boss. And if he sees value for his money, then you might be able to surmount whatever challenge
Indeed.
there might be. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Among several valuable things they spoke about, what stood out to me was the openness and transparency of their relationship. If she had not been opened to her husband to be then about her boss eating on her and all the attempts the boss tried to make, what would have happened when he went to tell the boss that he's marrying her? The boss might have spilled the beans, and that might have been the end of the relationship. Anything you will not be proud of, is better not to do it, especially if you are thinking marriage. And anything that is happening that you think if your spouse discovers later can be a bone of contention, is better you tell your own story.
That's right. True. Absolutely.
Let me quickly chip in this. So you spoke about how you, as friends and as bodies watching out for each other, just attend to the roles as they come. You didn't look at it from the African traditional man's angle. How do you manage things when your parents are around? Because I know that how you think about how jobs should be done and things like that will not work for your parents. Most parents will get agitated that, when did my son begin to sweep floor? Is it that Buddhism is at play, or what is the problem? So how do you manage things when elderly people, especially your parents, are around?
Well, I think that we're lucky to have parents who have a solid understanding in that regard.
Okay.
So when my mom is pounding yam, it's my dad that does the pounding, and then she puts the yam in.
Oh, okay.
So they they work together like that.
Okay.
So my mom won't
Fetching
come
the
to my
water.
house and then see me sweep the floor and feel anyhow, because she probably would even scold me and say, why are you allowing your wife
To
do
do
all
all
the
the,
work?
oh, that's good.
But I think the challenge we have with in-law is slightly different from that. You know, I can't remember the details now, but I knew that in the early years of our marriage, we had some friction. You know, I recall that we had taken a course, you know, by the relationship guru herself on in-law politics.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes certain things they are easier said than done until it happens to you. Because we usually will talk about bad in-laws until they turn out to be your own parents. Because
Wow.
you don't see, nobody sees the bad side of their parents. I mean, you love them.
Yeah,
So you don't even want to acknowledge if they are doing anything wrong.
that's true.
You want to make excuses for them.
That's true.
You want to say it's your wife who is not doing it right. So it takes a lot. That was a major challenge in the early years of our marriage, because I'd been with my parents for years. I wouldn't side any other person against them. But marriage is also a reality. Two
Yeah.
have become one.
That's
so
true.
how do you side your wife and side your parents at the same time? But I think that we had the friction initially, but we're lucky to, you know, apply some wisdom. And today, we're doing very well.
Yes, so I think in that area, I've had times that mom comes around, his mom.
Okay.
And then when she sees that we have a number to do, she takes on some herself,
Yeah, that's
like bathing the
beautiful.
children, and um, especially when she sees that maybe she's, instead of saying I should take it on, she just maybe shares some of the things he has to do. And I think that yes, they say that marriage is between two people, but you don't have all the wisdom. You should be able to speak out to people who will not enable your own excesses, but tell you the right. I remember that I sought counsel from you, Dr. Shion, at a point, and you said something that never left. That don't dwell on these weaknesses of the in-laws so much, because what you see often is what you become.
That's true.
You might feel that, oh, they are doing wrong, and you talk about it so much that you, not knowing, become it. And he also mentioned that when, for the principle of sowing and harvest, it doesn't matter who made you sow that seed. Whatever you sow is what you reap. So even if someone does bad to you, you don't return it, because you don't want to reap that, irrespective of the excuse you might have to want to behave that way. And of course, I took a pause for a while because we're having a lot of friction. And then of course, we kept talking. It was the mediator. He talks, and then I think we're at a very good place
Okay.
now.
That's interesting. I hope you are learning. And lastly, would you mind sharing maybe a particular instance or occasion that might have threatened or caused a feeling of what is it gone?
Yes.
But you decided to resolve it and keep going.
Yeah, so when we got married, we would say, we're never going to threaten the existence of this relationship. In fact, science says that those who have divorced have at a point in
Had those
time.
theories.
But when reality dawns on you, then I have never, and I used to tell my wife that, see, when I married, I have decided to marry. I don't intend leaving. But at some point, you'll find out that it's beyond just the things you say. It's a lot about the things you do. And your inability to be able to do what your partner wants is already threatening the existence of the relationship, whether you say it or not.
Can you hear that? Your inability to do what your partner wants is already threatening the existence of your marriage, whether it's verbalized or not.
So I found out that we were having certain issues, and she would go back as far back 7 or 8 years. In my opinion, I feel like it was nagging. That hello, you're a Christian. Let whole things
Pass
be in the
away.
past. Why you? But reflecting on it, it dawned on me that if she can still remember vividly what I did 8 or 9 years ago, it's possible that I'm doing it again. And then I have to come to terms with the fact that what I consider not important is important to her. And it's important to the point of breaking this marriage. So I had to choose, do I want this marriage, or I want to hold on to my weaknesses
You're still
that I've
being
not
very
let go?
theoretical.
Okay.
So it was about friendship
Okay.
with the opposite gender.
Okay.
I think one thing that for me is secrecy. I do not really expect that I be the only person you are in a relationship with. It's just that the extent of the relationship should be spelled out.
Yes, boundaries.
If I'm not comfortable with certain persons, and I've said it one, two, that's not the only person you have. Switch friendships. So I think with a particular person, of course, the friendship appeared inevitable because they were working at the same place, and this person appears to be needing help all the time. I think men are just very slow to see the intentions of this person. I am not comfortable with this.
Actually, it's not their fault. When the person is good, to the pure, all things are pure. When you don't have a negative intention, and you are that kind of person that always go out with good intentions, you often don't expect
I
the other
understand
person
that.
to have such
But in
intentions.
this case, when you begin to have 1 hour conversation on the phone, I am not comfortable with
Red flag.
flag. You should, and I think at some point he started enjoying that friendship too,
It's normal.
which is normal, right? You guys click, but I do not want this. And when I saw that it was going on, yes, I'm also a Christian. I believe that in the sanctity of marriage, do not break it for flimsy excuses. But do not threaten my place in the marriage. Give me that regard as your wife. I'm not overly bearing. I won't come to your place of work. But you have like 5 female friends. Matter of fact, I'm cool with certain of them. But if I'm complaining about, because I
particular
have
one.
to clear that, because sometimes we women we go
Overboard.
overboard. You can't say your husband
Insecurity comes in.
exactly. But when you feel that this particular person, you have your valid reasons, I think that is the most that we have, and not being heard. So sometimes we have issues. My husband really is quick to apologize, but
Man, I hope you heard that.
sometimes I just felt that those apologies were quite evasive. You want to evade the anger. You just want us to go on and on. No, I am that person that says stop, pause, discuss this issue, because if you glide over it, I've not forgotten. Like you said, I'm not saying it is right, because he says I've apologized for this thing. Why are you? But it's a
So,
similitude of
sorry,
yes, ma'am.
let me quickly say something to the people at home. This is not about nagging. You heard what she said. The previous issues were not properly trashed. Apology was used to cover it up. So they were still there. That was why it became a reference point in the future. So when you are resolving issues, make sure matters are properly trashed, not glossed over. And when it's properly trashed and the corrections are taken, then let the dead bury the dead. Don't go back to it. But if it is not trashed and the proper resolutions are not made, the person might likely go to it if something similar reoccurs.
Judgment Day is going to be very funny. Just sitting here and then somebody is talking about your life. It's actually very strange. But go ahead.
So really, those were the basic major things
Yes.
that glossing over issues and it piles up, and then. But I think there was a time we had a frantic talk,
Okay.
and we made promises to be better with each other and to be open.
Okay.
And I think we're better where we are.
Thank you very much. I hope you learned, because I learned a lot from this session. And I hope if we call on you next time, you would grant us the privilege of your presence again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Regards to
all
the
that you
family.
do. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you. People at home, until we see you at the next I Am session, keep enjoying yourself and keep applying the things you learn. Thank you.